Welcome to the Front Four Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Marchese. Alongside me, as always, my buddy, my pal, Jeff Azaparty. Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow us on Twitter at MattyMar89, at J_party, and at the number 4 fantasy.
We're trying to remind you with the background, and this way you don't have to look at my terrible basement. So
let's go. Or all the garbage that I have behind me in my office. Like, I mean, I'm not ready.
I wouldn't call the Bills jerseys garbage.
They're not there anymore. They're not there anymore.
I don't know. I can't see. Whatever.
They're not there. I have. Anyway, we don't need to get into what's behind me. Right now, our logo's behind me. That's what's behind me right now. So
Matty will tell you, Matty's the Batman on this stuff, man. He did all this stuff.
Look how good it looks. Oh my God. It's
drew that football and everything. It's crazy. Colored it in, stayed in between the lines. He did it, man.
I've never stayed in between the lines my whole life.
Oh, I know.
I won't start now.
Trust me, I know.
So you and I had this conversation as we kind of kick things off, and
let's try not to mush everything this week. Can we do that? Like everything good we talked about last week? And
okay, you know what? Let's start there. Because you can do that quickly. So Tom Brady was my first half MVP, and Tom Brady goes out and has probably his worst game of the year. He throws the 2 interceptions.
Gets outplayed by Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, like it was awful. And the guy that I said,
to be fair, like Washington just beat the crap out of them. They outplayed them on both sides of the ball. They crushed them.
The NFL is bizarro world this year.
It is bizarro.
Nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I also said that you should target Robert Woods as a trade candidate, and poor Robert Woods tore his ACL.
Wow.
So
I said the same thing about Aaron Jones, and he got hurt as well. So
yeah,
that's what I said. Let's try not to mush guys this week, okay, Matty? Let's make that a point.
So basically, if we give you any advice, go the opposite route this week, just for this week.
Yeah,
the front four fade. The front four fade.
The George Costanza episode, do the opposite. Like,
yes. Yes.
All right. And then we'll talk about Mike Williams again. And I talked about him last week. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. So we talked about the Titans running backs a couple weeks ago, and I was all in on the Jeremy McNichols train. I thought they were going to throw the ball a lot more. Julio Jones went on the IR. Now he's in concussion protocol, and his usage was that he didn't get used very much. And the two guys,
Adrian Peterson was brought in. He scores a touchdown in his first game. Some people say he looks all right.
And then the guy that ended up looking the best out of all of them was the guy that we didn't talk about,
right?
Deonta Foreman. And you texted me last week, and you're like, man, I think we should talk about Deonta Foreman.
I was mad we hadn't the week before.
I
knew he looked good in one of our work leagues. I did pick him up, and I was like, damn, we should have mentioned him. Because the week after, he got way more carries, and he kept looking good, and he's looking better. But as we know in the NFL, sometimes coaches don't care how guys look. They can look as good as you want, and they still don't get the playing time. But right now, he seems to be getting more and more touches, which is great for fantasy.
Leave it up to the coaches to screw everything up.
That's what I'm saying.
So the usage was kind of weird.
We both would have went pro
guys
in our respective sport if it wasn't for coaches, right?
Exactly. Man? So Deonta Foreman, as you mentioned, the better of the 3 backs, and not even close, really. So he had the 11 carries for 30 yards, which it's not that great, but he did look better the week before. But he did have 2 catches for 48 yards as well. If Jeremy McNichols can't make it into, like, if he doesn't clear concussion protocol, I think you could kind of fire up Deonta Foreman.
But can I say something, Matty?
Play.
In terms of him, I really, especially the way they were using him even before the concussion, to me, he's just a change of
he's just a change of pace guy. Yeah.
A change of pace back without a percent. Like, I don't think they're going to use him in the volume and stuff. Like, he's not going to be that every down guy. Like, all they see him as is a change of pace guy, and that's what they'll keep him to. They'll limit him to that.
And I honestly was okay with that. I just thought they were going to throw to him a lot more because he'd been really effective when they did that, right?
It's a very fair point. But they're the problem with me with the Titans is they keep preaching how they're not going to change their offense. Because it's Derrick Henry. Like, you have to change your offense because there isn't another Derrick Henry. So I was with you. I thought maybe a few more drop passes. It's not like coaches are always transparent anyway, but yeah, I hear you on that. So
I'm befuddled at just the whole Tennessee offense because, you and I were talking about before we started, AJ Brown gets all these targets, does nothing with them, and Marcus Johnson is the guy that has a big day. And
if he's on your waiver wire, go get him, because this week could be a big week for him against the Texans. So you'll probably have a huge week.
And as we say that, this is going to be the week where AJ Brown has 9 catches for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's become one of the more unpredictable offenses in the game, especially now that like Derrick Henry was obviously very predictable, easy.
Well,
But
especially
rest
against
of
a
it,
defense
no.
like the Texans this week, right? It could only mean like everybody could go up against the Texans.
We could see a lot of Deonta Foreman this
Right,
week. Like
right.
we really could see a lot of. They jump out to an early lead. Although the Texans are
100%.
coming off the bye, maybe Tyrod keeps them in the game. Hopefully he's better than the last time we saw him, which was against Miami, where he had like a billion turnovers. And yes, I did end up starting him that week. Boy, did that suck. So that wasn't fun. You know what else hasn't been fun as we kind of move on here? Mike Williams, watching him play has not been fun because I'm gonna run down some numbers here, Jeff. This is how mind-blowing this stat line is and how his season's gone. So from weeks 1 to 5, could you take a guess as to where he ranked among wide receivers?
Oh, geez. He had to be top 10, probably 5. Something
2.
Like that.
He was 2.
Wow.
Wide receiver 2.
Wow.
Jeff, from weeks 6 to 10, where do you think that Mike Williams ranks?
26? Who knows? Probably
80.
Later. Come on. No way. Wow, yeah.
Wide receiver
actually,
80.
I guess I way undershot that. That's true. Fair.
So weeks 1 to 5, he
has been bad.
Yeah, he had one game, weeks 1 to 5, where he had less than, this is a combined stat line, less than 9 targets, 7 catches, 82 yards, and 1 touchdown. So he had at least 9 targets, 7 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown in 4 of the first 5 games. Fast forward to now, week 6 to 10, 1 game with more than 50 yards. Targets were 5, 5, 5, 6. His catches were 2, 2, 2, 4, and 0 touchdowns. This is one of the more confusing things that I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
I don't know what to do.
In full transparency, I was on here last week thinking I expected him to get it back together at some point this season. Last week sure wasn't it. He looked worse than ever last week. He did not look good, which started to doubt my confidence. The thing I'll go back to is they've had some tough defensive matches with, I would say, at least one elite like corner, and he's been getting that matchup, which opens Keenan Allen up. And I think at some point that might switch back because that's how it was before. And Keenan's numbers were down when Mike Williams was up, right? Like these guys have basically traded places over the last couple of weeks. Would you not agree with that, Matty? Or?
Yeah, it's
Keenan to start the year wasn't that great. Like if you look at Keenan's numbers over the first bit, right?
No.
So it always seems like one of these guys is going to go off and the other one's going to tail down a little bit. Is all I'm trying to say.
It really is. They're not throwing the ball down low. They're not throwing the ball down the field. It's just a mess. They are literally Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
Wow. Yeah.
Just to throw out a reference there. They're literally those two guys. It's been an absolute nightmare. And you start Mike Williams every week thinking that this is the week he's going to break out. And I don't know if this is the week that he's going to break out playing the Steelers. I really don't.
For sure.
It might be. But
to me, it depends if TJ Watt plays because that defense is completely different if TJ Watt is in it and if he's not. So if he's going to play, like that could be the difference. And the other thing, because I'm going to be like the positive guy here, it does seem, even though his numbers haven't been great last time, it does seem like he's running more routes and getting a little bit more target percentage lately in the last like 3 weeks. So it's the Chargers kind of committing to trying to get him back on track.
Well, there's also, how many times did we see Mike Williams wide open and Justin Herbert just didn't find him or didn't see him?
Or wasn't looking there.
Yeah, so he may be dealing with an injury because Mike Williams has been dealing with an injury seemingly forever. His whole life. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm at a crossroads right now because I have the choice to start. So in 2 separate leagues where I have Mike Williams, I'm either starting him over Rashad Bateman or I'm starting him over Kenny Golladay.
Right.
And I'm really struggling with that because I think Rashad Bateman has been really good and Kenny Golladay has Tampa. So,
the other thing I have to say, like since he's gone down, Justin Herbert's numbers have been down overall too. Right. It's a bit of a trickle effect. Like Justin Herbert wants to get back on track too. Right.
Throw Mike Williams a damn ball.
So here are the worst games Mike Williams has had against the Raiders, who are surprisingly pretty good against receivers. Like their secondary, it ranks out. I think they rank like fourth when I was reading it, which surprised the hell out of me, but they are there. The other bad game he had was against the Ravens, who we know have a good defense, Patriots, who have a good defense. And Philadelphia, like, yeah,
hit or miss.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Some days. And Minnesota, the Chargers just didn't look good last week, right? Like that's why they lost, right? Like they should have won that game. They weren't in it. So, I mean, with the rest of the schedule coming up, like, I mean, especially around playoff time, like they're going to have the Giants can look okay. KC, Houston, like those are some matchups. Like if those are the weeks you need Mike Williams to perform, if you can get through this slump, I mean, it might pay off just waiting for him to do that. Like those are weeks I think you have to start him, right? Like when they're playing the Chiefs and the Texans, and those will be, as long as you get into the playoffs, those will be those weeks, man. So that's why when I was saying like by the end of the year, turning it around, that's what I was more looking to. But you're right. Like something just doesn't look right. Hopefully he's not injured, or hopefully he can get past it. But I don't know.
Having said that I have to think about starting Mike Williams over those two guys. I'm going to be the sucker, and I'm going to start.
Sorry, who are the two again?
Rashad Bateman is in one league, and then Kenny Golladay is in the other. Like I'm going to be the sucker.
I'm all in on Rashad Bateman. He might be my first choice out of those three, just because of the. And last week's game was weird. Last week was a Thursday nighter, right? Where it seemed like he didn't go to him too much. Then, like at the end of the game,
they had no choice.
Then it was just constant, and like it brought up his target, like his target share and the numbers he's getting, like are good, especially for a rookie. And the other thing I'm always high on, and I know he missed the first chunk of season, but rookies second half of their rookie year always do better. Like I know he's pretty much still just getting going because he missed the first, what he missed 6 weeks, but
something like that,
more, maybe even more. But yeah, so I'm all in on Rashad Bateman. So that is a tough choice.
I know there's another rookie that I know you're in on. We're not going to talk about him today, but you should get a plug-in for him because he was really good last week. And I know you've acquired him in a bunch of spots, and that's Elijah Moore.
Yeah,
you were high on Elijah Moore.
Very high on him. Although, you know what? I should have pitched the Jets as another talking point. Like Flacco coming into start. I mean, I don't know what.
It makes like you actually have a little bit of confidence in.
Well, to me, it's like Jamison Crowder's up, but the rookies and even what's his name, the running back there, like I'm worried for him. Yeah. Michael Carter. Like I'm worried for him now. Like after a couple good weeks and he was doing so well.
But Joe Flacco is going to be the check down king with Michael Carter. Michael Carter is going to get his
for Jamison Crowder in the like running slot routes like all the time. Anyways, really interesting to see what happens there. But yes, you're right. We can talk about the Jets rookies on another one. Maybe we do one day because I know you're high on Michael Carter too. So maybe you take Carter and I'll take more. But anyways, we can do for another day.
Okay, now we both have grown up. We might have a little bit of trust issues, but one guy I really have trust issues with is Cam Newton. So Cam Newton is going to start. I think he's starting the rest of the year because I think Sam Darnold might be done for the rest of the season. And he's got an opportunity in front of him here. When we look at the Panthers, it may not even be with the Panthers, but if Cam can put together 5 or 6 really good games here, Cam Newton's going to be starting in the league next season. I can almost guarantee that. Even as a 1-year stopgap for a team drafting a rookie quarterback, I still think that there's a chance. I think it's a long shot, but I think there's a chance. So when we look at Cam Newton rest of the season, he's got really good weapons. We know that. Christian McCaffrey's good. We know that DJ Moore is good. We know that
has been nothing lately. Like to me, that's my biggest thing is maybe Cam can turn DJ Moore into something again.
Yeah, if he can throw.
Oh my God. Have we ever established? Because I almost swore right there. Can we swear? Dude, thanks to Cam Newton, Robbie Anderson caught a touchdown last week. Like, of course, it's a week after I drop him, but Robbie Anderson is relevant again. Like, he caught a touchdown. I think he had like 5 catches. He had a decent day last week. Like, is Cam really? I know. And when I hear the hype on this, I was not sold on this, like, being the case at all. But there's a lot of people really high on Cam Newton this week, making his first actual start.
So let's kind of break this down in terms of what Cam had.
Sorry, since he's come back.
So Cam had bad weapons in New England last year. He had the issue with COVID. Like there was a lot of things that went wrong.
He was also trying to rush more than he should have. Like,
and I think that was on the Patriots trying to make him
what he was
into MVP Cam Newton. And it's just he's not that guy.
And also,
he's
we
good,
know that's
not
not
like
the
that.
Patriots way. So it's not even just transforming Cam. It's transforming the entire the offensive line that's there, because that's not what they do, right? They're just they're just blockers, and they leave the quarterback in the pocket there. So like last year was a bit of a change for everyone, and they had the most players that didn't
they didn't play
that
during
opted
COVID.
out for COVID, right? So yeah, it was a messed up year in New England last year for sure.
Yeah. So better
nobody saw this coming, or another team would have signed him. Like,
oh yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
I agree. So better weapons this time around. We understand that. But let's look at the remaining schedule, because I kind of look. So I'll break it down and then I'll give my opinion on it. Washington, Miami, and Atlanta are the first 3 games. I like that. I think those are really good matchups. Like if you have some issues, like if you have Aaron Rodgers who has a bye, or you have Patrick Mahomes who has a bye in there, Cam's probably a good fill-in.
And here's why it's a perfect storm. Can I just add to that, Maddie?
Yeah.
First 3 weeks, Cam, we've always known, plays better with a chip on his shoulder. Like when he's angry, he plays better. He's coming in to prove something. Like you saw it last week with the whole "I'm back." Like, the minute he walked into the touch. So these first 3 weeks, he's gonna be super focused. He's gonna be trying to prove people down, and I'm sure he knows he's playing against like somewhat weaker offenses that he can exploit and take advantage of. So, I mean, I do expect them to come out on fire, but rest of the season, I'll let you finish your point.
So I'm okay with him the first 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
After that, Buffalo, Tampa, and New Orleans. I don't love
Tampa.
Them.
Yeah, no, Buffalo, like Tampa, their secondary.
That's Tampa in the playoffs. That's Tampa in the playoffs. Like that's like
you don't want to take that risk.
I'm not taking that risk.
Without a doubt.
So I guess my point is Cam might be the guy that helps you get into the playoffs, but he's not going to be the guy that helps you win in the playoffs.
And I'll say
not happening.
It depends on who else you got, right? Like what your other options are. Like you're saying, if you have a quarterback on a bye, but who else is it? Like I said, Justin Herbert's numbers are down. Am I starting Cam over Justin Herbert? Hell no. Like I'm not, right? Like maybe one of these weeks, like you said, until I see Justin Herbert get going again. I can't fault anybody for does that. Go ahead. I wouldn't do it, but I can understand why people would. But like in terms of like, would you start Cam over Teddy Bridgewater the rest of the way if Teddy's your guy? I might, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there are teams there or one of the rookie QBs. Like, I don't know, man.
Okay,
like,
here's one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe would you start, because of his rushing ability, would you start Cam Newton over the guy who took his job, Mac Jones?
Ooh, no, I wouldn't right now. Well, that's a tough one. No, like
that is completely matchup based.
That is matchup based, because I'm just thinking Mac Jones this week, on like playing the Falcons. Like to me, I think Mac Jones is going to have about 20 points tonight. Like, but I don't know what the rest of their schedule. And I think they still
play the Bills in there. They play the Bills in there.
Against the Bills, Cam all the way. Yeah, without a doubt. And the Patriots right now, their running game's a little bit banged up, right? So. Yeah, that would be a tough one. That would be totally based on matchup. You're 100% right.
But he's at least he's in that conversation, at least for now. Like, I don't know if I'm starting Cam Newton this week, first week back against Washington. I don't know if I'm doing that. But if he puts up a decent showing, you have to consider him against Miami and Atlanta.
For sure.
Right? Because I don't know who has the week 13. I think Green Bay has the week 13 bye. KC has week 12 bye. The Broncos are off this week. Mm-hmm. So there's some fantasy relevant guys that are going to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it depends what your other options are, but I could definitely see Cam as an option.
Okay, I got one. This is the perfect example, and I can't believe we spent this much time on it, but here we go.
No, we'll move on after this.
Daniel Jones.
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Yeah. Again, I think it might, because he's getting all his receivers back healthy, right? And we haven't seen that all year. Like,
I know.
I'm torn on that one too. Jeez, it might come down to another matchup one, but I can see why people would start Cam. I'm just, like you said, I'm not all in him carrying me to the end of the season or to a championship.
For sure.
No doubt.
Okay, let's go to topic number 4. We've rolled through these actually.
No, 3. Aren't we on 3? We have 3 or 4.
No, we did. Whatever. No, we did. We talked about the Titans back.
Let me throw a stat at you, because I don't know if I was going to throw it in the 2-minute drill after. So out of all these rookie QBs, since we're talking about QBs and their matchups, one stat I heard is Mac Jones out of all the rookie QBs, and I'm just again focusing on rookie QBs that have had QB 100 or higher rating this year, Mac Jones has had 5. You know what the rest of the rookie QBs have had?
0.
Correct.
Yeah, because they've
Mac
all been
Jones
really
is the
bad.
only one who has hit 100 at any point and has done it 5 times, which to me was kind of crazy because
I mean,
he's the lowest ranked on, which is insane to me.
I feel really good about my prediction of Mac Jones. I said he was going to finish as like a mid-range to high-end QB2.
Definitely highest of all the rookie ones.
I thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to be a bust this year.
Justin Fields is coming on strong.
Yeah.
He's coming on okay. Do you even think Trey Lance gets in this year? Like, anyways, we'll move on because
no. But Jimmy Garoppolo's been. Well, actually, you know what? Let's go on to the next one because
that's what I was about to say.
Sure. Okay, so one guy has been really good all season. The other guy's kind of been up and down.
You're right. I miscounted. We are on 4. Okay, let's go.
I know I'm good at math, Jeff.
You are good. You are.
So one guy been really good all season. The other guy has had his weeks where you're kind of like, I don't know about this offense. And if I would have told you that I don't know about this offense, and that was referencing Tyreek Hill and the Kansas City Chiefs, if I had said that before the season, I would have been called an idiot. However, here we are. I'm still an idiot, but the Kansas City offense seems to be getting back on track, especially the way they played against the Raiders.
Without a doubt.
So the question becomes...
And again, a Raiders who, when you look at it, even before, like, especially before last week, that's been pretty tough on receivers.
Yeah. So the question that I ask is Deebo Samuel or Tyreek Hill rest of season? Because we saw how the Niners used Deebo Samuel. The guy was a legit running back on a few plays.
For sure.
And not like on jet
like 5
sweeps.
or 6.
Yeah, like the one he ran a counter and then ended up scoring on it. And I'm watching this going like, so I'm going into the Monday Nighter, and the scoring is the same as what we have in our Dynasty League. It's very intricate. Like you get your points for your first downs, you get whatever. I'm up by 26 points thinking I'm home and cooled as long as Deebo doesn't have a massive day. And guess what Deebo did? He had a massive day.
I think he had 30 points, didn't he, in most leagues? Like
in ours, I think he had 36. He had the 2 touchdowns. He had like multiple first downs. He had a bunch of catches. Like it was a disaster for me. But I guess what I'm getting at is Deebo Samuel has now worked himself into that conversation.
I was gonna say
with Tyreek Hill and how these guys are used. Tyreek Hill gets used on jet sweeps. He gets used on screens. He gets used in the slot. He gets used out wide. And that's exactly what Kyle Shanahan is doing right now with Deebo Samuel, except they're using it as an actual running back in the backfield, not on a jet
had so
sweep.
many injuries and like issues with their running back, right? Still blows my mind how Trey Sermon can't get in there.
So the KC offense, like we mentioned, is kind of
back.
Looks like it might be back. Now, that was also because the Raiders were playing a single high safety and they got burned all day. But we look at how Jimmy Garoppolo has played over the last few weeks, and he's actually been really good. Like that pass he made on the Deebo, the second touchdown was on 4th and 6 or whatever it was. That was what ended up putting the game away. What a throw that was. Yeah, what a catch into traffic. And he ends up making it out of there and scores a touchdown. So if you had to pick right now, who do you think scores more points the rest of the year? Deebo Samuel or Tyreek Hill?
Oh, wow. That is a tough one. If I had to pick, like overall, I think I'd be more of a Tyreek fan. But yes, this is a tough one because Deebo has been the most consistent guy in that San Francisco offense from the beginning of the year. Like, and I think they've realized that. And like you said, they're trying to integrate him any which way they can. And that's why they're doing this, right? Like he's a guy, like I heard somebody say, give him the ball every time because he might make a play and could break it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they started doing that. Like, you know, and the great thing for him is, especially like Kittle is playing well again, right? And having him as an option opens up possibilities for them to use him more as a running back and do stuff, right? Or even on the outside. Like if Kittle's clogging up the middle and catching passes and getting yards, it lets them use Deebo how they want. Now, that being said, man, I think Tyreek doesn't always get the respect he deserves. I know Good Morning Football did a huge thing on him this week and where his numbers are in relation to guys who have played in the league, like mostly Hall of Famers and stuff. And he's like top 3, top 5, like in almost every category, including like plays for over 84 yards with Hall of Famers, which is insane. Like, I mean, this year.
No, go on, finish.
No, this year I just think Tyreek and again, it goes for the entire Kansas City offense, but I think Tyreek's numbers would be better too. He's had some bad drops this year, and there are certain games where he doesn't look by himself. So, man, this is a tough one because I'd love to bank on Tyreek, and I think they'll be playing for more. I just don't know if San Fran falls out of the playoff picture, how hard they'll be playing and how much they'll want to protect Deebo. But yeah, I might have to go with Deebo on this one for rest of the season. It's crazy.
So Deebo is a physical specimen.
Beast.
Like he's a beast.
Agreed.
So Tyreek Hill, I was actually looking at it today, and it's just because when I pulled up the page, it was the first thing because it's what I have it bookmarked as, and it brought up the QB stats. If I had to ask you who was QB1 this season in fantasy points, who would your guess be?
This is gonna sound crazy. Who would my guess be in fantasy? I mean, automatically, because I know I had this out earlier, I might say Carson Wentz, but I don't think it can be him.
Nope.
Jalen Hurts is probably up there too. Like, I'd love to see the top 5 because
Jalen Hurts is number 2,
which to me is insane. We can talk about that another day too. Yeah, I don't know. Those would be my 2. Those would be the first 2 that came to my mind. Not that I agree with it, but I know some of the numbers they've put up, which would make me guess them.
Patrick Mahomes.
Come on. Well, and this is should have known that because I told you this when they looked at his numbers over the past years. Like they're not all of them. Like whether it's drop back rate or release, like all his numbers are pretty close to what they used to be. That's insane.
And this is what I'm saying about yeah. So and this is my point. So this is according to fantasydata.com, a great website. They have a lot of good information on there.
Wow.
Patrick Mahomes, according to fantasydata.com, has 5 more points than Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, the offense hasn't been good and they're still putting up numbers. So Tyreek Hill is the same. Like Tyreek Hill has been, I don't want to say he's been inconsistent, but he hasn't been as good as we have seen. And yet he's still the wide receiver too.
He has monster games sometimes. Like what was that one he had this year? Like monster games.
It was like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns or something.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. Tyreek Hill.
And like we saw Deebo do that. Like he's getting there too. Like Deebo almost had that last week. Like, and he could do it again. Like,
so I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill just because I think that Deebo Samuel had an absolutely incredible game. Mm-hmm. And it's still not the best game that Tyreek Hill's that he's had. You know what I mean? I just think that the big playability, and Deebo has it, but I think Tyreek Hill, because like when you watch him, he's the fastest prick I've ever seen in my life, honestly.
Without a doubt, it's true. Wow. How many guys who could run in Olympic qualifiers and then make the transition to a football field? Like they try that all the time. He's the one guy who's been able to make it work, and it's quite obvious it works.
So I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill just because I feel like they haven't clicked.
I told you I'm a huge Tyreek guy, and I don't think you can ever go wrong with him on your team. It's just, I mean, San Fran, if they want a game like last week, I just think they're going to rely and they're going to force, like they have to have Deebo go off on games like that if they want to win. I don't know how long they're going to fight and try and stay in or protect them for the rest of the year, but
it's going to be really fun to watch both guys because they're fun in different ways. Deebo is a physical monster, and Tyreek Hill's so damn fast. Oh my God. The line in The Longest Yard. It was the idiot that killed Caretaker. I can't remember what that prick's name was. And he says, they asked him about one of the running back, and I think it was played by Nelly. And I'm talking about the second one. I'm not talking about the first one.
Not the original, Matty? Come on.
No, I've seen the original. It's fine. Yeah. And he says, he's so fast, he makes fast guys look not fast. And that's Tyreek Hill. Yeah. Let's move on to the not so 2-minute drill. And first up on the list, Miles Sanders designated to return from the IR. At least he's back at practice.
Wow.
But he was my bust candidate this year. I didn't like where his ADP was. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, well, he got hurt. Yeah, well, he wasn't very good before that either. So I don't trust anybody in that backfield. I know Nick Sirianni said that Miles Sanders is the starter when he comes back, and that's fine and dandy. But Jordan Howard's been pretty decent.
Yeah,
Boston Scott's still there. Kenny Gainwell's still there.
It's so funny. And again, it's a coaching decision I will not understand. But it seems to me like the Eagles have flipped their thought process on the offense. And it was almost when Miles Sanders went out, they're committed to the run now. Like they started being committed to the run with guys like Jordan Howard. And like it wasn't even Miles Gainwell, like we talked about. Like all of a sudden they're more committed to, and it's opening up their offense. Like see Devontae Smith start going off, and Jalen Hurts looks a little bit better. Although again, I don't believe in him. And I think if they get somebody back like Miles Sanders, like he could go off because he's better than Jordan Howard and he's better. And if they start using him the same way they've been using these guys and stay committed to the run, like, man, getting Miles Sanders back could like maybe help you win your league. I don't know. I'm just saying, because finally we're going to see the potential we've always heard about if they commit to him and letting him run and if he's actually healthy. Like, it's going to be really curious to me to see what happens to Miles the rest of the season. I don't know. It's crazy because that offense is looking a little bit different to me lately. Like, I don't know. They're running the ball more. Like I said, like how many touchdowns have those running backs scored in the last 2-3 weeks?
Too
like,
many.
It's insane. Right.
And it's
like,
the
it's
wrong
insane
guys
to me. And it never used to be that way. Like, I don't understand what made them change their minds, but all of a sudden they're committed to the run. And it's insane to me.
Hashtag free Kenny Gainwell.
Seriously.
Rob Gronkowski returned to practice in full. He's missed a bunch of time. But before he got hurt, Rob Gronkowski was tight end 1 or 2 and was really good. Antonio Brown, it doesn't look like he's back. He's got another issue that's going on. We're not going to talk about that. But how do we kind of look at Gronk rest of the season here? If he's healthy, he's probably in the top 5 tight ends rest of the season.
Well, you know what else it is for me, Maddie? It's Tom Brady. Like we said, he's been struggling a bit lately. He's going to want that comfort blanket. Like with Gronk on the field, he might start just looking for Gronk, and especially in the near the end zone and in the red zone. Like he might want that comfort blanket because like we saw a few bad drops last week from his receivers, and he's missing some throws too. Like his familiarity with Gronk might be all you need to make Gronk really relevant heading down the stretch here.
Yeah, I think Gronk is a top 5 tight end the rest of the season.
I could see it. Well, what were the numbers the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks where he had a touchdown almost every week, sometimes 2? Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was incredible. I do want to get one thing in here. This is more of a fantasy etiquette thing, and I think you know where I'm going here.
Let's go.
If someone
Wait, can I do one more play before we talk?
Yeah.
And I think I told you I want to talk about this. I want to talk about Elijah Mitchell because like he has like almost. He had a broken finger. Isn't that what it is? And they have to put a pin in it.
It looks like he's going to play, but it's all about
they say he's going to play, and Shannon says they're going to use him the same way. Like, but he has a broken finger. And all of a sudden they're using Deebo. And I think we were both high on Elijah Mitchell, right? Yeah. Like they have to kind of be cautious with him, right? Like, are you thinking any differently of him? You have him on a few rosters, don't you? Like, how much do you trust him playing? Yeah, I had him there, and now like readings that like. They say he's fine. They say he's good to go, but like he has a broken face. Like, can he protect the ball? Can he hold it? I'm torn right now on if I'm going to play him or not. I don't know. I mean, because even his usage has been a bit down. Like you said, they're integrating Deebo more just to follow
and Jeff Wilson's there.
And Jeff Wilson's getting healthier and healthier. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. I was really high on Elijah Mitchell, and now I'm not sure if I want to start him. Wilson, I want your thoughts on this one, man.
Jeff Wilson is like the cockroach you can't kill. He just continues to get a spot, and
he's always hurt, but when he's in, he gets touches, and
he's unreal when he's in. He looked really good,
especially near the goal line. He might be one of the bigger vultures I've seen in the last few years.
Like, for sure.
You're man.
I'm trying to. I feel like I'm willing to go one more week with Elijah Mitchell just to see. Like, I'm not trusting him in anything more than a flex spot right now because he's almost become a little touchdown dependent.
Right.
And I'm just not sure about the workload. I don't think he's going to be getting the red zone carries. I think that's going to be Deebo and Jeff Wilson because they're just bigger guys. Yeah, but I think he's going to get the early down work. It's just what he does with it. They don't throw to running backs a whole heck of a lot, so that's part of the conversation here. But he is the better of the pass catchers that they have at the running back position. So, I mean, I'm okay with him as a flex play, and I'll start him this week. I'm guessing. I mean, in that league, it's either between him or Darnell Mooney. So that's a conversation I need to have in my own brain.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm pretty high on Darnell Mooney going forward. Like, as I said, Justin Fields looking better and better. It's obvious they have chemistry.
I might have to start him. So, and that's what.
Okay
so,
anywhere I have him, I'd start him. And who they got this week? Don't they have like
Baltimore?
Oh shit. Okay, maybe not this week. But
so I'm gonna go with. He's a flex play, and then we'll see what happens. But I don't think he's more than a flex play the rest of the season, especially the way they've been doing the offense. Okay.
Back to fantasy etiquette, because this is important, folks. This is very important. So a little public service announcement from my boy Matty M here. Like,
so I think you know where I'm going with this.
I think I can guess, but I can't wait to hear this. I should shut my mic off and just let you go.
This is more of a question, but if someone makes a trade Okay. Are you allowed to get mad about the return on said trade if you do not make an offer yourself?
No.
That's what I thought.
For sure. I hate to say that because sometimes you don't know these deals were going. Like, even if you look like we had another one, a ridiculous one in our
dynasty league.
Did you know that trade was coming? I didn't. There were
I made
two or three names on there that you wouldn't think would be on the block. Like, there's no way I thought he was trading two of those guys.
I did make an offer on one of them.
Okay, fair enough. It was both of them in one deal. Like, who's making that kind of offer? Like, you wouldn't think. Anyways, but hey, that's why you make the offers. Make them, right? Like my mom always say, you don't know until you ask. Put it out there. You might get blown up on Twitter, but make an offer. And that's another etiquette. Second etiquette point. Do not blow guys up on Twitter for making you offers. Anyway,
I mean, and the offer turns out it probably would have been better than what he got in return anyway.
There you go. Yeah.
So sure. I mean, whatever. But that's the thing. If you believe that there is collusion going on, then fine, absolutely call people out. But in said deal, there was no collusion, and people one person got mad. Not everybody got mad because it's like, well, whatever, because there was a trade that was made earlier in the year where it was offered to me and nobody said boo about it. So anyway, this is just me going off.
Actually,
on a little bit
forget
of
what I said. Post all the trade offers you get on Twitter. We'll be the judge. Let people judge. That's what we're all good at on Twitter. Let us judge.
Tag us in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. I love that strategy. Yes, post your trade offers and tag us in it. Let us know. We'll happily talk about it and judge you for.
And we can use the Matt's mustache scale. What's worse, Matt's mustache or the trade offer?
I'm all about that scale. Let's go.
I'm all about this mustache. For those that are not watching and just listening, I mean, check out the Twitter.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
There should always be like, you hit a mark, you have to shave it, and then somebody will pay you the money.
I mean, I'm okay with that if I can raise enough money.
That's what I mean. Set your mark. Right? You should set your mark. No, exactly.
I should set my mark.
I'm not growing a mustache. Go donate. I don't care. Look how foolish he looks. He's doing it for a good cause. Go donate.
I'm not gonna lie. I might keep it after we're done.
So you can't do that. That's not allowed. It's only
sure it is.
You gotta shave. No, not allowed. You can shave it and start again. Can't keep the same mustache, man. Just for November.
It's a good stash.
No. All right. Okay, just say bye.
I think we've exhausted all of our options.
I'll talk to you next week. That's it. Yeah. We're done for this.
Yeah. All right. Follow us on Twitter.
Even with each other. We're just done.
At MattyMar89, at J_party, at front4 fantasy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know, whatever. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.